How many more people have to die? How many more people have to suffer at the hands of cigarettes? Smoking is one of the worst tragedies plaguing our country today. I know about this tragedy firsthand. When I was 12 years old, my father died of a heart attack stemming from over 2 decades of smoking cigarettes. Before he died, there were no warning signs. I remember my mom saying shortly before he passed that he seemed to be in the best shape of his life, but none of that mattered in the end. According to the CDC, cigarette smoking is the leading preventable cause of death in the U.S., and that it causes about 1 of every 5 deaths in the U.S. each year. And so I'll ask this question again. How many more people have to die? How many more people have to die before we actually do something to prevent more people dying because of cigarettes? I'm arguing for people to stop smoking, and I have a multitude of reasons why. The main reason are the negative health effects of smoking cigarettes. According to the CDC, smoking leads to disease and disability and harms nearly every organ of the body. And more specifically, that smoking causes cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung disease, diabetes, emphysema, and chronic bronchitis. Smoking cigarettes is one of the worst things you can do to your body. And one of the worst dangers from cigarettes are the cancers that it causes. According to the American Cancer Society, smoking causes about 20% of all cancers and about 30% of all cancer deaths. And also that 80% of lung cancers are due to smoking. And this is an alarming number since lung cancer is the leading cause of death of both men and women in the United States. There is clear evidence here that cigarettes are a strong driver of the cancer rates in our country, and that is a problem. Another problem with cigarettes is how it harms non-smokers through secondhand smoke. And according to the CDC, there is no risk-free level of secondhand smoke exposure. Even brief exposure can be harmful to health, and it causes an estimated 41,000 deaths each year in the U.S. This is a problem because it robs those innocent bystanders of their choice. Because unlike actual cigarette smokers who make a conscious decision to smoke that cigarette, these bystanders had no such choice and suffer as a result. Because of these major issues, we need a solution. My solution is more public focus on smoking prevention campaigns and increasing the frequency of these campaigns. Since all the problems stem from smoking cigarettes, any program like the National Tobacco Control Program or the Real Cost campaign that are informing people on the dangers of cigarettes and in turn curbing people from trying them will contribute to solving this problem. Programs like Tips from Former Smokers show real people living with serious long-term health effects from smoking and show the toll these conditions have on their family members. And according to the CDC, campaigns featuring graphic images of the health effects of smoking can increase quitline calls and website visits, and that these campaigns' effects decrease rapidly once they are discontinued. By increasing public focus on campaigns like this, the dangers of cigarettes will be kept forefront in the public's eye and contribute to prevention and smokers quitting. This is important since according to the CDC, nearly 7 in 10 smokers want to quit, and according to audience testing, seeing how smoking could affect their lives and impact their families was the true way they would be motivated to quit. By increasing the frequency that current smokers see these types of campaigns, it will lead to more current smokers trying to quit. If everyone was fully aware of the true consequences of smoking, eventually I feel that there would be no one left smoking cigarettes. If my solution is successful, then the lives of people like Brian and Michael would be a thing of the past. Brian and Michael both started to smoke around the age of 12, sneaking cigarettes from their family members. By 8th grade, Brian was smoking a pack a day, and eventually Michael was smoking 2 to 3 packs a day. They both smoked regularly until their lives changed for the worst. Brian, age 35, was on his way to work one day. He was out of breath and sweating, and the pain got worse. And then suddenly he collapsed. Brian was having a heart attack at age 35. Later, he would need a defibrillator in his chest, and eventually he needed a heart transplant but wasn't eligible because he still smoked. At age 55, he was finally able to quit and received a new heart 3 years later. Michael, on the other hand, started having shortness of breath in his early 40s, and at age 47, he was diagnosed with smoking-related chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and had part of his right lung removed, later also having surgery on his left lung. At age 51, Michael had to quit his job and stop working because of his difficulty breathing. And that same year, he was able to quit smoking. If we continue to leave cigarettes at large, then tragic stories like Brian and Michael's will only persist. Even sadder are the stories of millions of people that are left untold, passing away before they could leave their precautionary tales. But their messages would probably be similar to the one Michael gave, who said, think about all you'll have to give up and ask yourself if it's really worth it. I can tell you, it's not. And I couldn't agree more. Nothing will ever make smoking a cigarette worthwhile. To contribute to the solution today, it's simple enough. If you know someone who smokes cigarettes, tell them what that cigarette is doing to their body. And if they don't listen to you, tell them about Michael or Brian or any of the other countless survivors who fortunately survived their cigarette addictions. By continuing this spread of information, we're chipping away at this cigarette epidemic. I hope we continue to strive for the day that we can look back and say, I can't believe that people used to smoke cigarettes back in the day. Isn't that crazy?